So now time for my predictions for All In on September 1st in Chicago, starting with the pre-show, the over-budget Battle Royal, which is no coincidence. That's not a joke. The over-budget, the over-the-top rope, they truly are over the budget here with this show. Cody Rhodes said as much in an interview prior to the show a couple of days back on one of their All Us episodes, the lead up to the show on YouTube. He was very adamant in talking about, very open and honest in talking about how they had a budget laid out for the show, and they went over that budget, but it's going to pay off in the end, no doubt. But it is the over-budget Battle Royal, where the winner will earn a Ring of Honor World Championship match later on the show, on the actual card. This is on the pre-show. So as of this recording, the current combatants include Jordynne Grace, which is a female wrestler. She is the only female, I believe, right now that's involved in this thing, so got to have some sort of intergender wrestling on the show. Some people may not be happy with that. I really don't care. I heard she's really, really good. Cool to hear that she's part of the match. So we have her, Moose, Rocky Romero, Colt Cabana, Ethan Page, Brian Cage, Billy Gunn, Jimmy Jacobs, Marco Stunt, Brandon Cutler, and Punishment Martinez. That's quite the mishmash of wrestlers there, from female competitors to to competitors from Impact, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground. There's a lot of variety in that one pack of competitors right there. Colt Cabana, of course, one of the most famous indie wrestlers of all time. He's involved in this thing as well. Out of those current competitors, I'm sure more will be added. I think it's supposed to be 15 people. That is currently, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's 11. They have 4 more spots. There's always the chance one of these people I just said can't make it or won't be a part of it, whatever. But yeah, this should be good. Out of these competitors getting the shot for the Ring of Honor World Championship later on in the night, I doubt it would be someone along the lines that's not, along the lines of a Billy Gunn who's not in Ring of Honor right now. Brian Cage and Jay Lethal would be pretty cool. Jimmy Jacobs would be cool. Rocky Romero seems kind of random. Moose, even though he's in Impact now, kind of mixing it up for the Ring of Honor World Championship would be pretty cool. I'll go Punishment Martinez. I know he's the current reigning Ring of Honor World Television Champion. But him and Jay Lethal have mixed that up before, have had great matches. So I'll go with Martinez. And if it is Martinez, either way, I do not see Jay Lethal dropping the Ring of Honor World Championship so soon. He just won it just a few months ago, right after the Best in the World pay-per-view. He's still early on in his reign, in his second stint as Ring of Honor World Champion. Again, like I said, aside from a potential Neville appearance on this show, I would not take the championship off of Jay Lethal so soon. So I got Martinez for the Battle Royal and Jay Lethal going over in the actual title match a little later on in the show. Also on the pre-show, we have the Briscoes, the current Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions, taking on SoCal Uncensored, Scorpio Sky, and Frankie Kazarian. This will not be for the Ring of Honor World Championships, or the Ring of Honor World Tag Team titles, as of my understanding, as far as I know. They could be clashing for the championships at the upcoming Death Before Dishonor show coming up in September, I believe it is. So maybe they save their championship clash for that show. But as far as this show goes, it's non-title. I think SoCal Uncensored's going over. They are feuding with the Briscoes currently in Ring of Honor. It is a non-title match. A win here could earn them a future shot at the straps at that Ring of Honor pay-per-view. Got to keep momentum on their side. I go with SoCal Uncensored. Christopher Daniels, the member of SoCal Uncensored, who is not competing in that tag team match because he's busy with Stephen Amell, the star of Arrow, competing on this show. This should be interesting. Amell does not have a ton of pro wrestling experience. I know he's competed in a few matches for, obviously, WWE at SummerSlam 2015, a match I was there for. He did pretty well on that night. He also competed for Ring of Honor on a few different occasions and tag team action. He has yet to have a singles match in pro wrestling, so this will be his singles debut against one of the best in the world, one of the best of all time, in Christopher Daniels, a former Ring of Honor World Champion, former multi-time TNA X Division Champion, one of the most seasoned vets in the business today, one of the most experienced as well. I got to go Daniels. I think Amell's going to do really, really well. If anyone can get a great match out of a rookie like Amell, it's Daniels. I mean, the guy knows what he's doing. He bumps around really well for people. This should be entertaining. It could be a massive train wreck. Maybe Amell embarrasses himself and it just does not go well at all. But I think he's going to fare pretty well for himself. I know he's been training really, really hard with Cody based off videos that I've seen and interviews that he's done. I give him props. Not many people would kind of journey outside of their comfort zone. I know acting is obviously his thing. not many people would go outside their comfort zone to not only do something they'd never done before, which I know he's done before, but like never a singles match where he's not relying on another person to tag in and out. Not many people would go outside their comfort zone to do something like wrestling. And even if they do, they're not really taking it too seriously or training for it. They're kind of taking it lightly, going through the motions. Amel, like I said, as far as I understand, is taking this very, very seriously and is training his ass off to do the best job that he possibly can at All In, because he knows all the eyes will be on him. But despite that, I do think Daniels goes over. The guy's a former Ring of Honor world champion. There's really no need to job to a fucking actor, to job to Arrow. But it should be good. I'm looking forward to the match, and Daniels goes over. Adam Page versus Joey Janela. That's what I wrote down here, but it's since been confirmed that it will be a Chicago street fight. And these two are probably the two perfect people to have that type of matchup. Adam Page has had street fights before. I think he faced Punishment Martinez in a Baltimore street fight at that Ring of Honor Best in the World pay-per-view back in June, which was a great match. I'll go Page here. I'm familiar with Joey Janela, not incredibly well familiar with him, but I am pretty familiar with him. I'd go Adam Page unless Joey Ryan comes back, and this is going to sound dumb to anyone who does not watch Being the Elite, but Joey Ryan has been dead, kayfabe, in storyline now for months after being killed off by Adam Page. Obviously, he's not actually dead. He will be brought back at some point. He can't play dead forever. I think if there's any time to bring him back from the dead, it would be on the show right here. So unless Joey Ryan comes back to cost Adam Page the victory, in that case, I have Joey Janela. In this case, where he doesn't interfere, I assume that Adam Page goes over. In a four-way match, and what I read was the first or second ever, rather, women's match streamed on the New Japan World app. The second ever all-women's match streamed on New Japan World, which is pretty fucking crazy. The other match was like a Bull Nakano match from years ago. Other than that, this is the first all-women's match on the New Japan World app, which is pretty fucking crazy. But it's a four-way match pitting Tessa Blanchard against Chelsea Green, Britt Baker, and Madison Rayne. Four women I'm all familiar with. Britt Baker I'm not incredibly familiar with, other than the fact that I know she's Adam Cole's girlfriend. Adam Cole Bebe. I think she's Adam Cole's Bebe for life. But yeah, we have her, Madison Rayne, of course, a former Impact Knockouts champion. She's been in Ring of Honor in recent months. She will be competing in the Mae Young Classic. I think they already taped the Mae Young Classic. So as of right now, she's not working for WWE, but it is pretty fucking crazy that she's going to be a part of All In on Saturday, competing for the Ring of Honor Women of Honor Championship next Wednesday on an episode of Ring of Honor TV, and a part of the Mae Young Classic, which may be airing Wednesday as well. I think she's facing Mercedes Martinez, who was a part of last year's NYC. So if that match airs on Wednesday, a part of the first round, that is pretty fucking crazy. That's a pretty awesome triad right there of being All In, being on Ring of Honor TV, and being a part of the Mae Young Classic. That's not to mention either, not to forget about the fact that she was also recently a part of Impact TV too. Just a few short months ago, she competed for the Knockouts Championship at the Slammiversary pay-per-view like a fucking month ago. So Madison Rayne in 2018 is one of the hottest free agents in women's wrestling right now, even more so than Tenille Dashwood, Emma, who's been doing great work in Ring of Honor, but she's kind of cooled off significantly since earlier this year. Madison Rayne, though, she's been around for almost a decade, and right now she's in All In. It's not really a company, but she's going to be a part of All In, was wrestling for Ring of Honor, was wrestling for Impact, and now is going to be a part of the Mae Young Classic. Even if she gets knocked off first round, that's still pretty damn impressive. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to seeing how Madison Rayne does. I would say WWE just sign her outright. I mean, obviously she's not the spring chicken that she was 10 years ago, but she could still go in the ring. Her mic skills are great. We learned that fairly quickly during her Impact run years ago. I think she's really, really good. I'm surprised WWE did not attempt to sign her sooner. I know she's been in and out of Impact for years now, and she had a kid a few years ago. That kind of set back her progress a bit. But right now, she has never been more relevant than she is at this very moment. So if I was WWE, regardless of whether she wins, loses, or whatever in the Mae Young Classic, I don't see her going very far. A lot like Tessa Blanchard last year, who was going to be a part of this four-way, who was not a part of the Mae Young Classic. Chelsea Green, I'm very surprised, is not in WWE already. I know she had a tryout a few months ago. There was no word on whether she's going to be signed or not, which was kind of weird. Britt Baker, I don't think she's a full-time wrestler, so I'm not surprised that she's not in WWE. Like I said, I know she's the girlfriend of Adam Cole, which will obviously help her out a lot if she wants a job with WWE, but I don't think she's a full-time competitor, so I'm not sure if that really interests her, because I know she's going for her doctorate or something like that. Anyway, Tessa Blanchard was a part of last year's Mae Young Classic, got knocked out in the first round. That really just goes to show how star-studded last year's tournament was. And, I know there have been rumors that she had attitude issues, and that was why WWE didn't sign her. At the end of the day, Tessa Blanchard is really fucking good. And she's been proving that nicely recently during her Impact run. Now, I would rather have her in NXT and WWE, but she's proving to be a big star for Impact as well. So I have her going over here. Madison Rayne is good, obviously. I just don't see why she would win here if she's obviously... again, it's all in. It doesn't matter who wins and who loses. But Tessa Blanchard is the future. Chelsea Green is good. Britt Baker's not a full-time wrestler. I'd go with Tessa Blanchard. I think the only real reason Britt Baker is a part of this match, if I'm not mistaken, because I'm not sure if she was all in from the get-go, I think she's replacing Deonna Purrazzo, who ended up getting signed by WWE and had to pull out from the event. So the same thing could happen to Madison Rayne. Obviously, she will be competing in the match. She won't be pulled before Saturday. But I could see a similar situation where WWE scoops her up before she wrestles more matches for Ring of Honor and Impact, and she goes to NXT. The NXT Women's Division has a lot of great talent right now between Shayna Baszler, Candice LeRae, Bianca Belair, Nikki Cross, Vanessa Bourne, Dakota Kai, and a lot of other women. But once Baszler gets called up sooner rather than later, that's going to leave a pretty noticeable gap in that NXT Women's Division. So enter Madison Rayne. I think it should be a great fit for that brand if they end up signing her sooner rather than later. But anyway, I know I went way off track with my prediction there, but I got Tessa Blanchard going over. In another match on the All-In card, I already talked about Jay Lethal versus mystery opponent for the Ring of Honor World Championship. Unless it's Neville, I do assume Jay Lethal is going over and retaining his championship. Let's see here. Also, in 6-man tag team action, this is going to be fucking great. The Golden Elite, consisting of Kota Ibushi and the Young Bucks, are taking on Bandito, Phoenix, and Rey Mysterio. This is going to be a lot of fun. I do think the Golden Elite are going over, not just because, it's the Young Bucks show and whatever, they have to win all their matches. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think it is kind of true. I think the only member, spoiler alert for the rest of my predictions, the only member of Bullet Club that's not going over on this show, in my opinion, will likely be Marty Scurll. I'd be shocked if he beat Okada. But yeah, I do think the Golden Elite are going to win. Why wouldn't they? I know Rey Mysterio, Phoenix, and Bandito is like a dream team right there of some of the best luchadors in the past 15, 20 years, but they're not a regular trio. They're not a regular tandem. So it makes no sense for them to go over. Again, it's not about what makes sense. It's a fucking, I don't want to say shit show, but it really doesn't matter. This show is really all about having fun. So win, lose, or draw, these people, it's not going to affect anything when they win or lose. But the Golden Elite, I know they're not the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. It's the Young Bucks with Cody, not Kota Ibushi. But I just think they're the more cohesive unit. And after an amazing match, the Golden Elite are going to go over. I mentioned Okada versus Marty Scurll. This is also going to be a great match. I'm not sure if they've ever faced off before one-on-one in New Japan or on any indie shows. I don't think so. Okada, I know, he's kind of fallen from grace, not dramatically, but storyline-wise, since losing the IWGP Heavyweight Championship back in June to Kenny Omega. But he is still a pretty big star, as is Marty Scurll. But if Marty Scurll can't win the Ring of Honor World Championship on multiple occasions, then I don't think he's beating Okada either. I'd be shocked. I know they're telling the story that Marty Scurll can't beat Okada and people aren't taking him seriously. You would think storyline-wise that would be setting him up to win. But I could see a situation where he comes close to winning and just earns the respect of Okada in defeat. So I've got Okada going over there. For the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship, I've really enjoyed the build-up to this bout between Nick Aldis, the current champion, and Cody. Cody's definitely winning. There's no question about that at all. Cody winning and becoming the world's heavyweight champion for the NWA, the same championship his dad held. Come on, it writes itself. I love Nick Aldis, the former Magnus from TNA. I know he's had some beef with people in WWE, which is why they didn't sign him, or Triple H saw nothing in him, or the people that are in his Triple H's ear didn't see anything in Nick Aldis. I call bullshit. The guy's not the most amazing, most exciting wrestler in the world, but he plays the part to perfection. I mean, look at Bobby Roode and EC3. Those are two people who aren't the most exciting in-ring competitors, and I know they have personality. Maybe Nick Aldis doesn't, but I think this NWA World Title run really has brought it out of him. He really has come into his own as a great heel during his time on top as the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion. But I think his time has come. It's time to change that championship from Nick Aldis to Cody, and Cody will become the new NWA World's Heavyweight Champion on the show. The thing is, with this match, I'm not expecting it to be great. Like I said, Nick Aldis really isn't the greatest in-ring competitor ever, the most exciting. So, neither is Cody, which is why I really don't think this match is going to be that good. Cody is great with the smoke and mirror shit, and no pun intended, I know that was the title of his old theme song in WWE. But he's great with, entertaining matches, but not Matt classic hold-for-hold matches. And neither is Nick Aldis, which is why I don't think this match will be very exciting. I do expect it to be pretty boring. But I hope they exceed my expectations, and I assume Cody Rhodes walks out as the new NWA World Champion. I did not save that for last just because I hope that's not the main event. Cody winning the championship will be a big deal, but in terms of the match itself, I don't see it being the best match on the show. This match that I would put in the main event, I would see this as being the best match on the show. Between Kenny Omega and Pentagon Jr., Pentagon Dark, whatever the fuck you want to call him, you can call him one of the best in the world because he absolutely is. Pentagon Jr. has been one of my favorite wrestlers since I first saw him in Lucha Underground in 2014, 2015. The guy's been doing great work recently as Lucha Underground champion in Lucha since the start of Season 4. He was Impact World Champion a few short months ago in Impact. The guy has really been one to watch in wrestling in 2018. And now he's facing the IWGP Heavyweight Champion. Now, again, like I said, it doesn't matter who wins, who loses. I do expect Omega to go over. I don't think Pentagon would beat Omega, beat the IWGP Heavyweight Champion, and then not get a title shot. Pentagon's currently wrapped up with Lucha and Impact right now. I don't think he's going to New Japan anytime soon. That being said, it would be kind of weird for him to win here. I would love if Pentagon won. Don't get me wrong. I fucking love Pentagon Jr. I just think it wouldn't make much sense to have him beat the New Japan World Champion and then not get a title shot. So the match should be great. I guess there is something to be said for if it was a championship match, then Omega would win. But if it's a non-title match, doesn't that mean Pentagon Jr. is going to win? Not necessarily. I do have Omega going over here. The match should be fucking phenomenal. I have no doubt about that. Pentagon's great. Omega's great. Omega, I don't think has lost many matches in 2018. I know he lost to... No, he beat Jericho. He won a lot of his matches before losing the United States Championship to Jay White towards the onset of 2018. I know he lost to Ibushi in the most recent G1 Climax. So yeah, I don't know I think that's going to lead to an IWGP Championship match between those two at some point. Point being that Omega has not lost quite a bit in 2018. I don't think that ends here. I think he goes over Pentagon in what will be the best match of the night.